Hello, everyone. Welcome to Heads and Dovetails. And of course, it's myself, Jill Harvey-Bush, with the lovely Jamie Hubbard. Uh,
Good morning.
Hello, Jamie. How are you today? All right?
I'm really good. I've had the busiest morning. It's Thursday morning. We're recording this a day earlier, and it's grandson day. Oh, which is
Oh,
good, but it means everybody's up at 7 o'clock. And
oh, that late.
I've done don't don't. um, and I've done loads of jobs already. In fact, I was nearly late again because I thought I'll just get my shower in before I do the podcast. I'll just get my shower done as well because that's like seven things off my list already, and
Yeah.
it's 9:30. So
Well, there you
a
go.
good
You
morning.
see the difference when you get up early. It's like me. I've got done this. I'm usually up now about 5:30, quarter to 6. And this morning, I've been out and planted in some more Brussels sprouts that needed to go in this morning and nearly got blown sideways. Yes, in my pajamas and dressing gown. I've made a couple of
Well done.
bodies ready for dragonflies out of willow. I've tried attempting to make a snail. Which is on my out of willow, I hasten to add, which looks very cute. So my first snail, which has just gone onto Instagram today. But it's amazing how much you get done and can get done
Yeah,
before breakfast, and you kind of go, whoa. And people say, how do you do so much in a day? Because
I
actually,
know.
I don't get up and look at my phone constantly. I get up, I
Yes.
get going, I sort the cats out, I do this, I do that. I'll go for my long walk because I can do 5 miles and be home by about 8 o'clock, ready for breakfast. And it just sets you up nicely for the day. I start my day in some ways slowly, so I don't blast it with
Yes.
technology and what's going on in the world. I start my day, if you know what I mean.
And
Not
it's
everybody
old.
else's day.
And it's old school. It's we've got
Hmm.
all this thing going on nowadays about youngsters and screens and what they're trying to stop social media and all of that. But we know these things aren't screens aren't good for us. There was a very good clip yesterday about somebody who'd got an audience with Bill Gates and they were going on about the decline in all sorts
Mm,
of things
mm.
because of screens and technology. But yeah, the old ways. I mean, the other thing that I wanted to mention as well, which we didn't on our little chat beforehand, is they've just announced that the life expectancy has been reduced
Hmm.
over the last decade by 2 years, hasn't it?
Yes.
So that's made me think old school. So I want to mention this because I sent you a message. Was it last night or yes this morning? I don't know
It
when it
was
was.
this morning. I mean, just going on to
Was it?
technology, I posted one yesterday. And again, I have never worn Bluetooth headphones,
Yeah,
AirPods,
yeah,
never worn it, never intend to. Really difficult when Apple kind of force you in some ways. And I think that, with the iPhone, suddenly you didn't get the easy plug-in,
yeah,
wired headset. You have to buy an adapter and you have to plug that in, and sometimes, and then you have to connect it, and it's much more complicated. But I also think that's led to people playing things loudly or playing them so
yeah,
everybody can hear because they
yeah,
don't have a headset. They can't, well, haven't got connected, it's not that easy plug in. So you hear people watching reels, you hear people on the train or on the bus or in public having big conversations, and you can hear the whole conversation. And I think
yeah,
that, used to be so easy. Oh, my phone's ringing, plug in my headset and have a chat. Now it's way more complicated.
yeah.
And last walk that I did up the hill, coming on my way back down, young lad coming up. Well, when I say young, probably in his late teens, early 20s. And he was walking up the hill, but he had his head down, looking at his phone, watching a film, which I could hear because it was loud.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa. So part of me went, how sad. You've come out for a walk or you're walking somewhere, your head is down, your whole body posture is down, looking at your
Yes.
phone. And
Yes.
you're obviously watching a film because I could hear it before I came around the corner. And then, of course, when he walked past me. So part of me went, how sad is that you have to do that when there's so much beautiful stuff around you. But the other side of me went, he was a little bit overweight. But then I thought, well, the other side is at least he's out walking. But that's about the
The
best I
quality,
can
it's
do.
quality then, isn't it?
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
quality. I've had a really good week doing things. And unless, I mean, I still haven't done a YouTube video. I think it's 60 days now. I think it's 2 months
Wow.
since I've done a YouTube video. I'm not, I'm certainly not missing doing the editing.
Yeah.
And for the couple of pound a day, I can work and do things. I'm trying
Yeah.
to get lots done everywhere. So by adding to that, by adding to it with more screen and editing, I'm
And
not getting
stress,
as much
Jamie, and
done.
stress.
Yeah, I'm not getting as much done. So that's still parked for a minute, and I'll
Yep.
get back to it at some point. But the latest thing I've done, Jill, because you know
Yep.
what, I'm
But
on this
you're
very
going to
slow
message me.
journey,
Yes.
is I don't know why. I think the things that I think that's the thing about the phones and what the screens is once they pick up on something that you say,
Hmm.
and then they put all that stuff in front of you, which
Hmm.
is a bit like the brain in a way. The more you see good, you'll see good, and the more you see bad and bad things, the worse things will
It's called a
probably get.
filter. All right. It's called your filter.
There you go.
It's an RS, not RSA, I can't think off the top of my head, but it's a reactivating filter that says if I want
Yeah.
to focus on this, that's what I'll see more of. So,
Well,
excuse me.
whole milk. I've gone down the direction of whole milk.
Hmm.
I had a look around at things, and I'm trying out Waitrose unhomogenized organic whole milk. It's got about 3/4 of an inch of cream on the top.
Hmm.
And what I've found already is I'm using less sugar. Now, is this me telling myself, or is it because I've read that because you've got the sweetness of the cream, you won't need as much sugar? So now my head's going, oh, well, I don't need as much sugar. So, and let's face it, sugar's a good one to get away from,
Absolutely.
isn't it? So, yeah, it all seems really quite nice. And those things, it's been 45 years or so I've been on
Yep.
semi-skim milk. And those little bits, and I think what it was when I had tea or coffee, I saw those little golden tiny little dots of fat on top of tea or coffee
Hmm.
and thought, ooh, what's that? And instead of knowing, I mean, let's face it, there was no internet then, so it would have been harder to find out. But instead of knowing or whatever, then you've got this other milk that everybody's pushing. All the milk companies are saying, "Oh, semi-skimmed, it's good for this, it's good for that," and you move over because that's what they want you to do. I mean, as I said earlier, part of it's marketing.
Hmm.
Some of it can be science. We don't know which one it is. We're told some of these things. We don't know the exact data, and we're told something's better for you than something else. And anyhow, whole milk.
I
I'm
agree.
on my
We
way.
we switched, and actually we switched to goat's milk now. Well, I was 18 years ago. 16, 18 years ago. So that when I got cancer, it was a friend of mine who was starting functional medicine then. And of course, that was all woo-woo science. And of course, the gut doesn't affect anything. And what rubbish. And yeah, this is real rubbish. It's, let's forget about it. And, there isn't kind of transmitters in the stomach, which we found psychology wise there is. And now, of course, a lot of research is saying how much your gut actually impacts your health, and they're seriously looking at it and the impact of fast foods on it and so on and so forth. And it was lovely Justin, who was training to be a functional medicine practitioner, and when I got cancer said shift to goat's milk. And I looked at it and I did the research, and I think I put a bit in my book about it and about whether it was closer to, human milk or not. And actually, the difference is it's actually better for us in some ways than cow's milk because it is naturally homogenized. And when we say, it's interesting, you said you've had unhomogenized, naturally homogenized mean it's the same consistency throughout. So you
Mm,
don't get cream. If you milk a goat, the cream doesn't come to the surface because
mm,
it's all mixed in. You can
okay.
get goat's cream, but they have to do the reverse process to extract the cream. Cow's milk, when I was younger and the milkman used to come, well, of course, the milk would be on the doorstep, the cream would all be at the top, and in the winter, the silver foils on the top will all be pecked because the birds were after the cream. And
Yeah.
it's one of those slow processes, like we've said on previous podcasts, where they change a recipe for a favorite chocolate bar or something, and you don't notice because they do it slowly. And you kind of don't
Yes.
notice that that milk disappeared because
I
in the
know.
supermarkets now it's all, you know, homogenized. So it's really interesting. But cow's milk is slightly more acidic as well than goat's milk, which people kind
Right.
of go, hang on, I thought the old adage, before you go out drinking, have a good glass of milk to line the stomach. It actually, when cow's milk hits the stomach, it curdles. And for a bit, it will create a barrier because the stomach is slightly more acidic. But then cow's milk, and let me get this right by just double checking, cow's milk, because of the protein and calcium in it, makes the stomach produce more acid. So
Right.
whilst you might feel relief to start with,
Yeah.
it later on, the symptoms might actually be worse. So I mean, it was really interesting when I looked at it, but that's why I switched over to goat's milk, goat's yogurt. I mean, we do have dairy cheese now, but we also have goat's cheese that I buy. So really interesting that you've said you've gone back to
Well,
full whole milk, which is best because there's so much now in there, Jamie,
yes.
that the body
Yes.
needs.
Yes. And you know what? So we picked it up in Waitrose from Waitrose on Monday night.
And this is not an
I
advert for
came back.
Waitrose.
Sorry?
This is not an advert for Waitrose's milk.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
No, it's not. And I got back and I shook it up a bit because I was a little concerned with all the cream at the top, and I thought, wow, because it actually looked like a stopper. It looked like the
Yeah,
milk
Dad,
wasn't
I
going to
remember
come
it
through
used
it.
to be really, really
Yeah.
thick. My grandmother would
Um,
spoon it out and then whip it to make cream.
yes. Yes. So
Anyway.
anyhow, I shook it up and it poured out, and there were a couple of lumps in it because I've sort of it hasn't been touched for a couple of days or however long
Hmm.
it's been in the supermarket. And I drank it and I went back about, because I'm sick, I must have gone back 49 years, 51 years, something like 51 years when we used to have milk at school.
Yeah, a third of a pint in a bottle that was
And it was
warm
just
and
like drinking. Yeah, it doesn't know the warm, but it was just like drinking that proper milk. And I just thought,
hmm.
wow, this is beautiful. But I was thinking this is beautiful because I'd already set my mind on, I'm going to go down
Yeah.
this route. I'm going to do this because it's good for me. So I was telling myself, it's creamier, it's lovely, but it was creamier, it was lovely. But how much of all this good stuff we do is the good stuff? How much does it help? This is why I wanted to talk about this.
Mm.
How much does it help being in that mindset of, well, this is good for me. This is going to make me feel good. This is going to stop me having so much sugar, so that's going to be good. Everything's all about the body now, and I've got however many years left, probably hopefully another 40, 53. I think I've worked it out.
So you'll be
113.
113 you want to live
Yes,
to then.
50, I've got 53 years to go, so let's try and look after this body for the next 53 years. That sounds bonkers. Um, and I say that because the number of people a friend's just lost someone,
Hmm.
a parent. In fact, there's two happened recently by people I know of, and they reached 101.
Mm.
And there seems to be a thing around 101. And I wonder if as long as I get through my 100th birthday, that'd be great to get to the 100th. And then they get to 101, and it's just like, but, so I'm aiming higher. I think I've said it before. I'm aiming higher,
Yeah,
much higher.
well, it comes back
Why
to that
not?
suggestion, subliminal suggestions, which is if you're told you've only got 3 months to live, most people will have 3 months to live. If you don't
Yes,
tell somebody how long they've got, some people want to know, other people don't, then it's
yes.
amazing how much longer they survive. Now, interesting you talk about it. My mother-in-law was nearly 103 when she died. She would have turned 103 in the February and she died in the November, end of November. And interestingly, she never wanted to be 100. She
Mm.
never wanted to be 100. She didn't want a 100th birthday, none of that. And yet,
No.
and she used to keep saying, I think it's about time, him up there gave me a good yank. And literally, as she turned 100, she took to her bed. She was in a care home, but she used to walk around and go downstairs. She took to her bed and never got out again. So, it was that. She didn't really want to go out when we went, would say, well, should we put you in the wheelchair and take you out in the garden? No. And it was interesting, Jamie. It was like she didn't want to watch Wimbledon. She used to love it. She didn't want to watch the TV. And I said to Clive, it's like she's disengaging from everything,
Yes. It's a,
so
it's a,
therefore I'm
and
not
that's
going to miss anything because I'm disengaging from, I don't know, like it's like when you give up watching a soap opera, isn't it? If you go a few months, you kind of go, well, I'm not addicted to it. It's like she was disengaging from everybody
yeah,
emotionally and what was going on
yeah,
in the world. So but yeah, it's subliminal suggestion. And that's even down to things like, well, we know about the placebo effect.
yeah.
Well, there's the one called the nocebo effect,
There is, yes.
which is the opposite. So if you believe that it's not going to happen, then it won't. And that's if you're taking medication, as I've said to some people, if they are doing chemo or something like that, don't fight against it. Oh, this is rubbish, this is going to poison me, blah, blah, blah. It's about this is going to do me really, this is going to work really well. This is
Yeah.
going to be fantastic. Same if you take any medication, people are forced to take it and don't want to take it. It doesn't, it's been research was shown it wouldn't be as powerful. People who took it and engaged in it and believed that this was going to do me well, it actually worked much better. So it's similar, isn't it? It's the
And then,
beliefs that we're fed and what we
yes,
focus on.
and
But
that's how I,
what's happened with the rest of the family then? Because if that's your belief, have they all switched to whole milk or is it just you?
just
Just
me.
you.
uh, I sometimes think they just think Dad's a bit of a crank.
Well, I think it's everybody's got to go on their own journey. And,
Yeah,
it's what we spend our money on. As you know, I will buy organic, like we will buy goat's milk. And we've switched from semi-skimmed. I was buying semi-skimmed, and we switched over to whole milk as well, which I thought was really interesting when you commented you had. So we switched over a few months ago. I mean, we've gone backwards and forwards between semi-skim and whole, but we're now on whole milk for all the reasons that you're saying. Actually, there's proof that there's a lot of goodness
yeah,
in what we want. But we believe the experts, we believe the research. In the same way, years ago, if people are old enough, there was a time when we were told, don't have more than 2 eggs a week, with a good British fry at breakfast. No, no, don't have more than 2 eggs a week. 2 eggs,
yeah.
it's bad for you
And what
because of this, that, and everything else. It was
was that a
cholesterol, I
cholesterol
think.
thing?
And that was a cholesterol thing.
Yeah,
And now, of course, that's been shown to be absolute rubbish. And actually, the more eggs you eat, the better for your brain and so on. And then there was the butter, wasn't it, which came under what you're
yeah.
talking about. No, don't eat butter. No, 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 that's not good for you. It's full of fat. Go to lovely margarine. I mean, when you think about it now, and even now when I see the soft spread margarines, I think, no,
I know.
please
I
don't.
I think it's quite scary when you walk down a supermarket aisle
Hmm. Yeah.
and you look at everything, and
Hmm.
the closest things to real is the
Absolutely.
vegetable area, salad,
Yeah.
vegetable, fresh. Everything else is in boxes and whatever. And I suppose part of me wanted to get um, just, and because I'm going through this, I think we're all hearing more about it, but that could be just because of my filter, I suppose.
Mm.
Just less processed,
Yeah.
just less processed. So whole milk, and they say the farmers are having a tough time and whatever, and I just think it's worth doing.
No, I
So,
absolutely agree with you. The more you think about it, the more chemicals are in everything. As you say,
yeah,
we're the only people who spray food that animals won't eat, and then we eat it. And you just think, this can't be right.
no,
Well, I'm very much into that. I'm very much into, doing as things as organically as you can. And that's actually shown to be better for the soil. And the farmers who have been farming organically are finding as climate change comes on, their farms are doing better because the
yeah,
soil, it's not about the food you need to concentrate on, it's get the soil condition right,
yeah.
and then everything else, the food will follow on behind it. But I'm very much into that, trying to remove chemicals as much as I can. As I posted yesterday, I've made some of my, laundry liquid
Oh
uh,
yes, I
for
saw
my
it. Yes.
laundry detergent. Again, getting rid of as many chemicals as we can when you think about what we put on and in our bodies these days. And going off on a tangent to the laundry detergent, why do we have to have fragrance laundry detergent? And then, by the way, if you think about it, we have fragrance laundry detergent, and you can smell it on some people's clothes. It's so strong
Mm.
for my nose because I'm not used to it. We have the flavored, we have this scented or fragrant laundry detergent. Then we also have the fragrant softener for the laundry. So we have that. Then, of course, we wash, don't we? And we have the nice smelling shampoos and the this and the that we put on our body lotions and body wash. Not me personally, I'm generalizing here. So you've got all those smells coming on. Think, oh yes, I've got a lovely whatever, sandalwood or whatever.
Yeah.
Then I come out and I put my smelly, and I mean scented, let's put it that way, fragrant clothes on from washing. Oh, and then I go and spray myself with perfume or cologne. Oh, and we have
Well,
smelly deodorants as well. And you're just like, hang on, what's the point of having smelly clothes when you then cover that up? I mean, and
I
some
know.
people, when they walk past me, I kind of gasp. I'm like, oh my God, the chemicals.
I sometimes hear, have to. So because Lynn goes to work before me, she'll get ready and she's in and out the bathroom, in here, and then the sprays. And sometimes I will say, Lynn, can you just open the window, please? Just before you go, open the window because
Yeah.
the, and I think it's because, I mean, our bed's quite low. Um, I think a lot of these scents land on things,
Hmm.
and because they land on your clothes, on you, and they stay. Well, I think if you're sort of low down, you're getting all of it. It's like a
Yeah.
cloud dropping on top of you.
Yeah.
Um,
And
it
then people
is,
have these plug-in things, which is
yeah.
chemical. Just
No,
chemical.
I
You
don't
plug
get
it in
that.
and it just bursts out.
I don't
Chemicals, I
get it.
don't get it. But then there's whole aisle, as you say, if you go into the supermarket, there's an aisle dedicated to all these lovely scented, smelly things. And we now know about scented candles if we're not careful. They're
I well,
producing.
I came back last night and Lynn had got two candles going, and I walked through the front door. I said something's burning, and I went past the living room door and poked my head round the door, and Lynn had got a couple of candles. She blew one out. I went into the kitchen, and it must have been 4 minutes later. I came back in, and it was still smoking from being blown out. And I was
Gosh.
just like, that hasn't gone out yet. So she put a coaster over the top of it to stop the smoke. And I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. I will open, and she knows it. I will open windows. I will blow them out occasionally. I think, and it's just
We're poisoning ourselves from inside our own houses. I
we
mean,
are, and
there's the thing now with the sofa, isn't it? With all the chemicals that we have in
yes,
British sofas, and all
yes,
the
the
chemicals that are
off
used to
gas and the
not, yeah,
VOCs. There was a
yeah.
very good. I caught a very good. I say very good. Grand Designs last night, and that one was couple in from East London moved to West London, building a new house. In between, the roadway wasn't very narrow between some houses, the little driveway, so they came through somebody else's land, and it was all that.
Mm,
But because they got three children that had got asthma and all sorts of things, they were doing this a sort of sunken house with a courtyard, but they'd got filters and all sorts. So I was
mm.
quite interested in that to see what they were doing. And these young lads, I don't know whether it was two young lads and a girl or three young lads. Um, they went back 7 years later to see. He went back 7 years later to see how they were getting on. And these young lads were doing cross country runs and all sorts of things
Mm,
because they'd got away from East End, which is where the wind direction
hmm.
goes. They'd gone to the west. They'd got this house that was built from panels that were made in Latvia of the exterior and the different layers, the structure, the layers of insulation,
Wow.
pine wood on the inside, um, all done in a factory situation, but they would have been done and they could have been off gassing as they were
Mm,
manufactured, as they were coming
mm,
over, as the building was being built.
mm.
The building went up quite quick. I think they went from in 3 weeks, they went from just sort of concrete basement done to 50% of the house complete. But it was the fact that these young lads had got a healthier life now because they weren't breathing in all the fumes and things. So it does make
Well,
you
I
think
gave
that
up.
we've
I
got to.
gave up my inhaler when we moved down here. So I
Did you?
wasn't bad asthmatic, but I'd go out
Okay.
and I'd be wheezing a bit. And couldn't get rid of the dry cough sort of thing. And I'd gone to the doctor in Weybridge, and yeah, you're slightly, asthmatic. Take the maintenance in the morning and at night, and here's the blue inhaler if you need it. Anyway, we moved down here in 2021, and in the February, and by the April, I thought, do you know what? I don't think I need my inhaler. I'm gonna give up, using it at night and see how I go. And then I'm going to give up using it in the morning, the maintenance, whatever it was, the brown one. And then I went and saw the nurse and said, look, I'm actually not using my inhaler. And she
Yeah.
said, you're fine. When they do the breath and blow and
Yeah.
whatever. And I haven't used the inhaler since. And again, I think that's just being out. Obviously, Weybridge, we were under the flight path. I mean, not directly, but aircraft going over above you all the time from Heathrow, plus all the fumes and so on and so on, being in a very urban environment. So, yeah, I
Mm.
gave up my inhaler, and I know other people who've had similar when they've moved. But
Right. Oh, well done.
oh, it's interesting, Jamie. But yeah, it's looking at, you'll start getting obsessed and you go, actually, low fat. I mean, let's be honest, we're all been told low fat was really good for us, and then we find out it's full of sugar and chemical rubbish in
Do
there
you
to make it taste better.
do you think that maybe we were put more onto more sugar? There used to be lots of sugar adverts. Do you remember?
Yeah,
Tate and
take
Lyle
Lyle.
and
Yeah,
do you think that maybe our diet would have been all right if we hadn't been pushed onto sugar more? And that's what's made the cholesterol, but they're not reducing the fat at the same time. So then they say reduce the fat because you're having more sugar. But let's face it, all this world runs on big businesses making as much money as they can out
correct,
of people. So
correct.
they want us to have sugar, and then they create loads of stuff with low fat. So
Yeah,
we know it's all about
it's that.
consumerism and
Well, it's looking at those
business.
research papers, which is, I hated that module of my degree, but I'm so glad that I did it because it does make you look behind the research. And what I mean by that is you can look, and the research states this. And then if
Yes,
you dig deeper and dig deeper and dig deeper
I'm glad you're
and
saying this.
find out who
Who
was
is sponsoring
funding,
it? Yeah,
yes, who was funding that research?
yeah,
And well, when you dig, but people, don't, they'll just do a quick Google and not get into the research papers. And sometimes I'll just hang on a minute, who's sponsoring this? So do a little bit more critical thinking, and you go all the way down because it does come down to statistics, doesn't it? And then when peers do reviews and redo it, and they say, oh, well, you didn't do that, you didn't do this on some of the research. And one that I remember digging into, well, at the time, Jackson was young. I was pregnant when I started my degree, and that was formula milk versus breast milk. And they were this research paper, which I was looking at for part of my degree, said no, it's perfectly fine. It's just as good. You can add this in. In fact, it's even better. And you think, how can it be even better? Anyway, long story short, dug in, dug in, dug in. And, it was done at this university and this professor and this person. And I really had to dig. Who was that research sponsored by? Cow and Gate.
there you
And you
go.
go, well, that puts a different slant on it. So I agree, Jamie, it's big business. It's getting more and more difficult to know what's
Mm.
true. And I think it's go back to basics, go back to
Yes,
literally, to use an
yeah,
analogy, to what your gut is saying. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
as I said, my mother-in-law lived to 103, and her view was when we used to talk about, oh, you can't have cream and you can't have this. She said, I've ate it all my life and I'm fine, and I'm not ill and I've not had heart problems. And
there
as I
you go.
said to her, but that's because when she was born in the early 1900s, she wasn't put onto processed food straight away. She wasn't put onto processed baby food,
I bet there
formula,
were
going
probably
to
processed foods like there is
correct,
now.
correct. You know,
Nothing like it.
exact nothing like even when I was younger, nothing like it. You
I
know, the
think
process would have been tinned carrots that we had
I
and
think
tinned
they would
peaches
be,
and
yes, I think they would be shocked to see what's in the supermarket now. The colour, the colour, the music and everything. You know, why have they got music playing? Because I remember the first supermarket I went into, I think it was Safeway in
key
Halesowen.
markets was
Co-op,
mine.
co-op. I think it might have been. I
A
don't remember.
co-op, of course, was around.
Yeah,
The
I
closest
think
we
it was.
got to one was one called Home and County Store, and you used to have
Wow.
to be served. And the biscuits
What?
were in a barrel.
Uh, oh, good grief!
Yeah, it was called Home and Counties. I always remember that. The wooden floor, I can see it now in my mind. And then I think it was co-op, and then a key markets opened up. But no freezers. You know, I think there was one freezer with peas and fish fingers.
Well, one last thing before we go is I've seen, and this isn't recently, this was a few months ago. Somebody said, I've seen a couple of videos a few months ago. Somebody said, if you go to the freezer section for
Mm.
things rather than the fresh, you will find the ingredients are far less because it's frozen rather than sitting on a shelf and
Hmm.
has to have all sorts of emulsifiers and things to keep it shelf
Hmm.
life longer. Because it's frozen, it doesn't need all of those.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh, okay. So
Well,
who knows?
just very quickly, that would take you back to the basics of how they used to store food. So I
Yeah,
remember salting. You know, if you
yeah,
wanted to take it to a basic comparison, if I was didn't have a freezer, then I would be salting all my runner beans and so on. So adding
yeah,
something to it or pickling spice or something would be added to it, albeit natural. Now, of course, in fact, my leeks are freezing that I did yesterday. I blanch and I freeze, so nothing is added,
yeah.
and then they're ready to go. So
The way to do
it's
it. One last little tip then, because I'm going to say it's because you know where everything goes sort of around cycles and whatever.
Mhm.
Look at what the professional chefs are doing because
Yeah,
they tend to use proper food, don't they?
yeah.
Tend
Well,
to.
depends on the restaurant and the cost and then
Yeah,
people don't want to pay it. So then you get into a whole other argument again, Jamie,
we do. We
about
do.
you've charged me this much at the restaurant, as Jeremy Clarkson will say, but he says yes, but you know, this has come from the local pig farmer down the road, and this has come from the local so and so, and yes, but at least you know. Anyway, you get into that whole argument, don't you? So
We're done now. That's
we're
it. Let's
done. We're
stop.
done. Let's stop. Absolutely. And again, thank you to everybody who listens to us. I hope you've learned something from today's podcast, all about milk, I suppose, in some ways, from AirPods to milk, and hope that it's helped in some ways. Thank you very much. And if you would like to, of course, make sure you get every single episode, then it's all of that. What is it, Jamie? Hit the bell, like, subscribe, comment, share, all of
They
that.
know. They know. They just need to do it. They
Yes,
just need to do
absolutely.
it. We need more support. So yes, please do it.
Jamie, you have a good couple of weeks and I will speak to you again soon.
And
Bye,
you. Thanks,
everyone.
Jill. Bye.
Bye.